Hi everyone, welcome to the visual guide for Stone Vigil Hard. This is the second of 3 new dungeons made available by patch 2.3 in Final Fantasy XIV, Defenders of Eorzea. In this instance, we go through our favorite ruined castle, slaying more dragons and collecting all the loot. My name is Ms. Tech and I'll be your dungeon guide. We make our ways through the hallways battling trash we're pretty familiar with. Watch out for any patrols and surprise dragons ambushing us with their fiery breaths. The first boss is GORYNICH, and he shares some of the same abilities as the first boss in Stone Vigil Normal. Swinge is a massive frontal cone that all players should move to avoid by standing behind or to the side of the boss at all times. He will do his classic, "Oh hey guys, I'm gonna run to the corner and turn around to get you all, ha ha ha," so don't get caught with your pants down. Lion's Breath also makes a reappearance, and again players should avoid his front. Rake is a hard-hitting blow to the tank, but it's not cast very frequently and should be easily healed through. GORYNICH will also spawn adds that should be killed immediately. Upon death, these adds will do one final AoE blast in either a large circle or frontal cone. If the boss gets hit by these, he'll be buffed with haste and damage up. These debuffs last for 20 seconds and don't seem to do a significant increase in damage, but tanks should be wary of where the adds are going to die and attempt to minimize how many buffs the boss gains. Once GORYNICH is down, carry on through the ruined hallways until you come across this section. Here you'll notice 3 cannons that you'll use to blast our scaly friend out of the sky. Again, with each cannon blast, groups of dragonflies will spawn that the tank should be ready to pick up. Once our scaly friend takes enough blasts to the face, we fight our last pack and continue on down the hallway. Here we meet up with a few knights and prepare to fight the next boss, FERA. You'll notice 4 cannons around the room. 4 cannons, 4 players. Can you guess what must be done? The boss itself is not traditionally damaged, and the group will be using the cannons to our advantage. As soon as you click on a cannon, your pet action bar will pull up 2 abilities. The first is Iron Kiss, a juicy damage blast, and the second is Spindly Finger, a shocking lightning ability that stuns anything it hits. Keep in mind that this second ability has a 30-second cooldown. For the most part, everyone will be spamming the damage ability on cooldown. When FERA casts Diamond back, he will reflect any damage back onto the player for the next 6 seconds. As soon as you see him emote and flash his shell, stop all damage on him. Once he loses his invulnerability buff, you can resume damage on him. The easiest way to tell if he has this buff up is by simply setting him as your focus target or if his shell is glowing red. Periodically, he will cast Hard Stomp, a massive AoE blast that will damage anyone in the room. This is the ability that must be interrupted using the second ability. It's best to assign one player to this and another as backup in case the cooldown is not up in time for the next one. There is a cast time on this stun, so be sure to cast it as soon as you see the telegraph. Adds will also periodically spawn and target the NPCs. Use your cannon blast to destroy these as well. If adds are targeting your cannon, ask one of your friends to blast them off of you with their cannon. Lastly, FERA will engulf himself in flame and charge one of the cannons. You can either choose to avoid this by running away or take it to the face like a man. Continue DPSing the boss and the adds until he's down. Try not to have too much fun. The rest of the trash is fairly simple. There are a few hard-hitting pulls with 2 or more dragons, and you may have to CC if necessary. The last boss is GIRUVEGANAUS. I tried. If I'm to be honest, this is a pretty annoying fight. While he has a normal aggro table, he instead chooses to run around willy-nilly, casting his abilities in the direction of random party members. None of his abilities have cast bars, instead you need to look out for certain tells. If you see his tail lift up, you'll know he's about to do a tail swipe. If you see him rear up, he's going to do a frontal cleave. If you see him drop his shoulder, he's about to charge ahead of him. Basically, the easiest way to deal with any of these abilities without even looking at them is to stay on his side. But keep in mind that he is constantly moving. You can see how this can get annoying. Getting hit by any of these abilities will place a healing debuff on you for 6 seconds. Getting hit by multiple of these abilities will make it very hard for the healer to keep you up, so take care to avoid this as much as possible. At 60%, Giru will spawn a clone. If it wasn't annoying enough to deal with one of him, we now have to dance around 2. The easiest way to deal with this is to ignore the new clone unless he's directly on top of you ready to attack, and burn the original boss down. The 2 bosses will now also cast a fireball attack, sometimes simultaneously at the same target. You'll notice it by the glowing ball of flame he forms on his chest before blast off. Again, simplest way to avoid this is to make sure you're not directly in front of him when he casts his ball. Once the original boss is down, you can refocus on the clone and burn him down. Continue to dodge his attacks, limit break when it's up, and burn him down. All of the damage on this fight is avoidable, and you can even have your tank go DPS stance, so do your best to avoid as much as possible. And there you have it, Stone Vigil Hard. If you have any questions or comments, please let me know. Up next, we'll look at Tamtara Deepcroft Hard. As always, thanks for watching. Till next time.